Okay, we are here today with Tyler Crowe, and he is an orthodontist, and he works with Crowe Company Orthodontics in Bluefield, Virginia, and he's going to tell us just a little bit about what he does every day and just a little bit about his career. So thank you for joining us today, Tyler. We really appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
And so just tell us a little bit about what you do and then what a typical day looks like for you.
Absolutely. So, orthodontist, which involves straightening teeth using tools such as braces or Invisalign. And that's what I do every day. A typical work day, depending on the day, is seeing patients and adjusting their appliances and helping them to achieve the smile that they really want to have. In being an orthodontist and also owning the practice, a day of patient care looks different from an administrative day where we're taking care of things for the business. And days that are, deemed administrative are things where we take care of just the back end, whether that be accounting things, taxes, and bills, the not so fun stuff, but I still enjoyed those days because those days are the days that I get to sort of be the visionary and steer the ship, if you will, in the direction that we want to take the business. And yeah, that's what I do.
That's great. So what led you to this career path? Did you always know this is what you wanted to do? Were there other things that kind of led you in this direction?
Absolutely. So I was firm in my decision that I was going to be an architect until about ninth grade. And then we had job shadowing in ninth grade. And I went to job shadow an architect and I just realized it wasn't for me. And in 10th grade, I got my braces off. And that just made a big impact on me. And so that's kind of where I decided, what, I think this is the career path that I want to take. I still have much respect for architects and the work they do. We just had an architect design an office that we are getting ready to build. So I am grateful for the work that they do. I just realized it wasn't for me, and orthodontics is the right career path for me. Absolutely.
So what could you tell the students about the background they would need, what type of schooling, things like that, if they are interested in something in this line of work?
Absolutely. So to become an orthodontist is quite a lengthy process. So buckle up if that is the career path that you want to go on. It is 4 years of undergrad, and there's no specific major that you have to get into dental school. You can choose any major that you'd like. There are specific courses that are required. So there's 90 hours worth of courses that are required to get into dental school. And in certain majors, there are a lot more similarities, if you will, with the required courses and the courses required for that degree, such as biology or chemistry, things of that sort. But if you wanted to be an art major or a history major and still become an orthodontist, you could do that too. After undergrad, then you would go to dental school. Dental school is also 4 years. So it's 2 years that is mainly a lot of book work, a lot of didactic work. And then the last 2 years are more clinical, where you're working on patients, you're really learning the skills that you're going to use as a dentist. And then if you so choose, you can specialize, which is what orthodontics is. There are 7 specialties within dentistry. Orthodontics is one of those. So after the 4 years of dental school, then you would go into a residency program. Orthodontic residencies can vary between 2 or 3 years. So the program that I went to was through WVU, and it was a 3-year program. So it is 11 years of school in total before you become an orthodontist.
So definitely a commitment. Make sure that's what you want to do before you get started, right?
That is right. And I will tell you that my dad gave me great advice in that if you want to become an orthodontist, I think that it's a good idea that you go shadow some dentists first, because in order to become an orthodontist, you have to become a dentist first. And the path is narrow to become an orthodontist. In our program, there are only 3 residents per year. and there are hundreds of applicants. So if you are to not be able to get into an orthodontic residency program, then you would become a dentist. And dentistry is an incredible career. I would have been very happy being a dentist, but my goal was to become an orthodontist. So I would say if that's your path, make sure that you take some time and shadow some general dentists so that if you do not end up getting to become an orthodontist, you'll be just as happy being a general dentist.
I think that's great advice. What would you say would be one of the more challenging aspects of your job?
Absolutely. Good question. I believe that one of the more difficult things that we faced was learning how to run a business. Uh, the dental school and the orthodontic program prepared me very well for the work that I would be doing as a dentist or as an orthodontist. So clinically, I felt very prepared. In terms of owning and operating a business, it's just a different beast. And you don't get a lot of experience in learning how to operate a business. So that was a challenge, and it took time. Dr. Evans, who was the previous orthodontist that I purchased my practice from, his wife, we were talking one day, and she made a great point that you don't know what you don't know. And so there are certain things that if you've never been in a situation where you needed to know something, ask those questions, find someone who can mentor you and can really guide you along the way. There is no bad question. That's a factual statement. You can ask things that are very simple because something that is very simple to someone else might not be as simple to you. So I would say learning how to run a business, and it takes time. I mean, it took us about 2 years to really get into the swing and know all of the, all the taxes that you have to pay and all of those types of things and stay on top of that. It just takes time. But if you stay at it, then it's easy to get a hang of it after you get the hang of it.
Yeah, so kind of like two careers, business side to it and the dentistry side to it. I talked with the pharmacist this morning and she kind of said the same thing. She said a lot of people in her field were majoring in business and then because of the business aspect of that field, which I thought, well, that's kind of smart. What do you think would be something you could tell students like a rewarding part of your job?
Absolutely. I'm going to backtrack for one hot second to speak to what we were just talking about. One of the plus sides of a career in dentistry is that there are a lot of options. So you do not, if you have no interest whatsoever in owning a business, you don't have to. There are plenty of offices that will hire as an associate so that you get to go in, you get to do the work of a dentist or an orthodontist, and then you go home. So you don't have to be a business owner. You don't have to do what that I did. That's a choice that you get to make. So if you're passionate about orthodontics or if you're passionate about dentistry and that's just what you want to focus on, you absolutely can do that and have a very happy and successful career in that as well.
That's a good point. Yes.
To answer your next question, one of the most rewarding aspects of my job is the transformation that we get to see. I learned very early on that a career in orthodontics, you get to see a physical transformation naturally. Someone's going to come in and they're not going to have the most perfect teeth at the beginning. And it is our goal to get them to have absolutely beautiful, flawless teeth. But the greater transformation that I did not quite realize as much was the transformation that you really see within the person. You don't really realize how much someone values a smile until they have a smile that they don't love.
Right.
And there's just an intrinsic transformation that happens in confidence that they really come around to feel a better self-esteem about themselves. And when you think about it, the majority of patients that we have in orthodontics it happen in very transformative years. It's those middle school, early high school years for the vast majority of patients. And those are big years. Those can be hard years for a lot of people. And so I realized that when they come into our office, in some regards, it's a safe haven, and they lay there and they're willing to sit there and talk to you about things that you maybe wouldn't have known about or wouldn't have heard about otherwise. So when we get to break down those barriers and get to really talk with kids about what they're going through and the transformation process from start to finish of their treatment, it's extremely rewarding.
I could see that. That's a good point. So give us some advice, either life advice or maybe advice for someone that wanted to pursue this type of career. What would you say to them?
I would say that, as we discussed previously, it's a commitment. I mean, you're talking 11 years of your life. It is a worthwhile commitment. I, under no way, shape, or form, regret going the path that I did, regardless of the amount of time that it took. It was worth it through and through. Um, Coming out of high school and going into college is a big change. And there's a lot of changes that happen within a person during that time. So if this is something that you really want to do, I would say to maintain that drive, because there are going to be things that might get you off course, and that will be challenges that you will face along the way. But try and maintain that drive and remember what it is that you really want to accomplish. Um, from the beginning, you know, that first semester of college, I would say focus on school and focus on those grades, because one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that right at the very beginning, if you maybe don't do so great in one or more of your courses, well, that has a really strong effect on your GPA right there at the beginning. You don't have a lot of hours that are um, going into the equation for a GPA. So you want to make sure that you're staying on top of your A game, bringing your A game and staying on top of everything, to keep those grades up right there at the very beginning, when the impact on your GPA of a bad grade can just be pretty strong. So I would make sure you're focused and maintaining that drive to see yourself to the finish line.
I think that's very good advice. And we really appreciate you talking with us just a little bit, giving us a little bit of insight into the career world of orthodontics. And we know you are great at what you do, and we thank you for what you do. And just thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.